Welcome back to the Fox 43 podcast studio. We are talking the 2022 NFL draft, and I got to tell you, draft's kind of moving right now, and there's a lot of action going on. We're going to catch you up. We left off at pick number 6 after the Carolina Panthers went, and now we are going to catch you up, and we're going to start with our own Philadelphia Eagles. We are the home of the Eagles, and they are making moves. They make a trade, and they get the 13th pick, and they trade with the Texans, and the Texans get number 15, number 124, and number 166. You guys could do the math out there real quick. Cale Ahern, Evan Brooks, E.B. Brooks in with us right now. Cale, you're a big Eagles guy. Thoughts on this right off the top of your head?
Well, for me, the Eagles are always making moves. None of this is a surprise to me. Them staying at any spot they have in the draft is usually something that does not occur. So, when Howie Roseman looks at the board and it falls a certain way, he plays out all these different scenarios, and if he sees a chance to go up and get his guy, he's going to make that move. So obviously they see an intriguing prospect still there on the board. Surprised that they're still there at this point. They're moving on up to get him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of like Cale said, he nailed it. Howie Roseman always wheeling and dealing. The wide receivers flew off the board, starting with 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, and then we see Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson go. Obviously, the Eagles had a lot of interest in Jameson Williams from Alabama, so it'll be interesting to see who they come up and get. A lot of good prospects still there. Jordan Davis, Kyle Hamilton, so it'll definitely be interesting. But yeah, you mentioned it. The draft is flying. We saw that run on receivers like we talked about earlier. Those guys went back to back to back to back. The defense had their shine, and now it's offense's turn. So it's definitely a wild draft for sure.
I'm reading up on this Jordan Davis, AP All-American, Chuck Bednarik Award winner, Outland Trophy Award winner, Fletcher Cox Jr. Cale, that's what you said. I'm reading a comparison. Halati Nagata from the Baltimore Ravens is a comparison. And I didn't even know this stuff exists. Projected to sign a 4-year, $17 million deal. That includes $9.5 million, 50-year option picked up in 2025. That's the rumor mill out on the streets, and that the streets are the interwebs right now. So that is who the Eagles take at number 13. Georgia defensive tackle Jordan Davis, 340.8240. That is fast. I weigh 140 pounds and I cannot run 4.82. That is just impressive. So let's go through some of the stuff that's actually happened right here. So obviously the Eagles and Howie have been wheeling and dealing. We thought they would control the first round a little bit. That really hasn't been the case. This is a big move in the middle of the round. But the Lions, right before that, they also made a trade. They traded up and they took wide receiver Jameson Whiskey Williams, as EB calls him. You guys thought that was going to be that could have been a quarterback right there.
I mean, when you see a trade like that in the first round, you automatically think quarterback.
Yeah.
And while this is an impressive wide receiver class, Jameson Williams just suffered a pretty big injury there in the national championship. So it's definitely surprising to me, but it's also something that, obviously I think the Lions are taking that approach where they're trying to build out their roster first before that they find their future quarterback. And obviously getting Jameson Williams will give you a number 1 option.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jameson Williams, an explosive athlete for sure. Sure hands. I mean, a lot of people thought he was wide receiver 1 in this draft before he got injured. But yeah, Kel, like you said, anytime you see a trade up like that, you think it's a quarterback. The Lions loved Malik Willis at the Senior Bowl, worked with him all week. We're very hands-on with him. So I definitely thought that could have been the pick there, but like Cale said, they're just trying to build the pieces around and eventually drop that quarterback in there. And Jameson Williams, you couldn't ask for a better receiver at that spot, regardless of the injury, because he'll be coming back.
Listen, I'm just going out and I'm flat out saying this. I love this draft. I love the focus on the defense. I love that we haven't had a quarterback taken because I think the market needs to correct itself, just like Wall Street does all the time. These quarterback contracts are so much of the salary cap, and you're creating yourself such a short window. I love that teams are going out there instead of possibly reaching. Hey, let's see who falls down to us and things like that. And then we'll grab our guy. I know it's the most important position in football, but I love getting pieces that you could build around and actually build, 1 through 52, 1 through 50 as, a good solid roster. So that's who the Lions took at number 12. The Saints, they're also wheeling and dealing. They moved up. I mean, could that have been a quarterback there to learn under, Jameis Winston? But no, they go with EB. I'll go with you. Your guy, Chris Olave, you've been on him for like 2 months, since we started talking about the draft.
Absolutely. Yeah, that one hurt being a Commanders fan, seeing that. I mean, Ron Rivera was at the pro day for the Ohio State receivers, talked to them extensively, brought them in for top 30 visits. So I definitely thought Chris Olave could have been the pick there. Obviously, they didn't feel comfortable taking him back, so trading back. I mean, this is a great pick for the Saints. They need receivers, just point blank period. They need receivers. Obviously, Michael Thomas, he's had his issues with injuries and other things with the coaches. Not too much depth there. So to come up and get a guy like that who's a polished route runner, great hands, super professional, that's a great pick for them. And unfortunately, hurts being a Commanders fan.
Continuing the run on receivers that kind of started back at number 10, or I'm sorry, before that, but back-to-back Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm tripping myself up here. The Jets take Garrett Wilson at the number 10 overall pick. Kale, your thoughts on Mr. Wilson here?
I mean, top receiver in the draft. I think, if Jamison Williams doesn't suffer that injury, kind of like Evan said, he was probably wide receiver 1, but right behind him is Garrett Wilson. I think it's a guy that you can start from day one immediately. You take Zach Wilson last year in the first round. You want to load your quarterback up with some weapons, and right now the Jets, you're looking at wide receiver. Corey Davis really ain't doing it for me. He's not the top option out there.
Exactly.
So you're going to get Garrett Wilson. That's a top receiving option. Then right away that you can give Zach Wilson, and it's all about that development with the young quarterback, and you want to make sure that you're giving him all the weapons that he needs to possibly be successful. And they're hoping that Zach Wilson can take that next step this year. And now he's got Garrett Wilson to pair with him.
That's an excellent point. Real quick,
The
Wilson,
Jets, it's a law firm.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Jets are killing it to get Sauce at 4 and then come back and get the best receiver in the draft, in my opinion, at 10 and get pair him with a guy like Elijah Moore who killed it as a rookie last year. I mean, they're giving Zach Wilson all the necessary weapons, like Kale said, to succeed, and they're having a great draft this far. So
Conspiracy theory here: Woody Johnson just likes the W name. I'm just going out and gonna say that. 3 dubs. All right, so the draft's kind of gone in waves. Like we've just gone through the run on receivers a little bit right there in a row, but then after not having an offensive player selected and no big guy selected after those early picks going all defensively, we got into a little run here and it kind of ended at number 9. But Mississippi State offensive tackle Charles Cross going to the Seahawks. Seahawks kind of in a definite rebuild mode there after letting Russell Wilson go out to Denver and things like that. Where does that fit? Did that change the draft at all? Anything right there with maybe what could have happened?
There was a lot of different ways the Seahawks could go. That's a roster right there where they could add at almost any position, and it would make sense there. But I think it's another team kind of ready to build the team's roster before they add their future quarterback. Obviously, they got Drew Lock in that trade for Russell Wilson. It remains to be seen if they believe he's the franchise guy, but I think they're going to give him this year. He's going to get his chance, so why not get him a good supporting offensive line up front to try to give him a chance to make some plays.
And what kind of started the receiver run was Drake London, a pick before Cross goes off the board at number 8, USC wide receiver Drake London. I'm sure they called him on a cell phone or something like that. He goes to the Falcons.
Yeah.
That's the pop culture reference I got for that one right there, guys. So number 8, USC, best contested ball catcher possibly in the NCAA. 16 of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely a big body. Contested catches is his calling card, and that's really, obviously what the Falcons love. Calvin Ridley got suspended this past year. Really don't have many options to throw to besides Kyle Pitts. So, they go and get a quarterback, a wide receiver that can, get those contested balls. I mean, they got a quarterback like Marcus Mariota, not the most accurate, has a big catch radius as well. So when those inaccurate throws do occur, you got a guy who can bring in those tough catches. With Drake London being 6'4", I mean, you can't really ask for a better target for a quarterback.
We could go 6'4.5", 6'5", but I mean, whatever. We're just splitting hairs right there. Another NFC opinion on Drake London.
To me, man, when I'm looking at this class of receivers, Drake London just kind of stands out as the sore thumb. I guess I'm saying, he doesn't have the same speed. He doesn't show the same athleticism as a lot of these other receivers. He kind of just is that big body guy. And in today's NFL, that type of receiver is fading for me. It's not the same type of deal as it was even maybe 10 years ago, where you really wanted that possession receiver on one side and maybe your deep play or your all-around receiver on the other. I think nowadays, you're looking for a receiver who can make all the plays, who has the ability to break away, has speed, and get those jump balls. I just think, Drake London coming from the Pac-12, it's been a weaker college conference in the past few years. I think it's just definitely not the move I would have made.
Am I wrong?
At number 8.
Am I wrong saying? And I know the body types aren't the same. Maybe they're a little bit similar and stuff like that. But maybe it reminds me more of like an Antoine Bolden type of guy. I don't know. Is that? I thought I'm compared to Fitzgerald, and I think that's kind of disrespectful to Larry.
Yeah, definitely disrespectful to a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely disrespectful.
Yeah, I think more just for the Eagles standpoint, Alshon Jeffrey. And I'm going to go even maybe an older version because I just think I don't think he has that speed that he's going to be able to show that separation in the NFL. So when you're picking at 8 and you're the Atlanta Falcons, Calvin Ridley's out for the year, already suspended. You have no real great option at receiver. You want to land a number 1 guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if we're going Drake London there, it just doesn't feel like a great fit for me.
Yeah,
I'm actually seeing where we have some live picks. The Ravens in here picking safety Kyle Hamilton fell down the board a little bit, but this is a nice pickup for a Baltimore Ravens secondary who's already made a lot of additions this offseason.
Yeah.
They just draft well. The Ravens just draft well.
Absolutely.
And I know you're upset right now. I know you're upset. Not only did you lose Kyle Hamilton to the Ravens as a Commanders guy, but now he's going, right up I-95. Right up the Beltway.
Yeah, man. I mean, it hurts for sure. I definitely thought, them trading back, he could have been an option there. But like Kale said, I mean, the Ravens they always take the best player on the board. Kyle Hamilton can do so many things in the back end. He can even drop down and play linebacker for you. They added Marcus Williams, a highly paid safety that they paid in the offseason as well. So that secondary should be set for a team that had a lot of injuries last year. Kyle Hamilton's a baller, and I'm actually shocked he fell this far. We heard about the speed concerns a little bit, but for them to get him at 14 is a great pick. And, the Ravens, like you said, I mean, Eric DaCosta, doesn't matter who's picking for them. They just always get football players, and that's their MO, and they come in, do their job, and play well.
Harbaugh's got it, wwhatever Ozzie did, bringing up guys and things like that. They just seem to just function and just draft well. I mean, even when the Ravens are bad, they're not bad. I mean, that's the standards that's down. We're going to get into that one a little bit more. But just to close out and recapping the picks, at number 7, the Giants went with Alabama offensive tackle Evan Neal. Some thought he was best offensive tackle, in the draft. Obviously, Big Blue, a lot of problems. They went up front on defense. First pick, second pick, they're going with Neal. Saquon Barkley, less than 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. That's a number 2 pick. You got to address those issues. You guys are both in the NFC East. You see the Giants a lot, so.
I really think, this is 2 draft picks they needed to make. You needed a great addition on the defensive end, and you definitely needed offensive linemen to try to support that. And especially Evan Neal, like you said, one of the guys I consider the best tackle in the draft. Yeah. I really love those guys who play at a nice SEC school, somewhere proven, played in big games. Evan Neal's done a ton of that. Yeah. He's shown that he's been solid throughout his college career. And I think that just adds a day 1 starter, possibly at left tackle for them if they want to flip Andrew Thomas over to the right. Yeah. It really just kind of solidifies that Giants offensive line as they're ready to take the next step forward as a franchise.
Alabama plays in big games.
Yeah, they do. And he's got a great name, by the way.
He does. Yeah, you're a little biased on that. That's not even fair. Where's Forrester? We're talking 3 Evans right now.
No, that's a great pick. I mean, like Kale said, they hit a home run with Kayvon and then come back with Evan Neal. You got to protect Daniel Jones, see what you got, see if he has any life in him at all, and, you get the best pass protector in the draft to see if they can move forward with him or not. So the Giants are having a heck of a day right now, and they got a lot better.
Can you protect Daniel Jones from the white chalk on the lines from falling down on touchdown run? I don't think tackles could do that. But you can protect them from people and defenders. So
yeah, I don't think so. What are my Commanders doing? Are they on the board right now? Do we have?
They are not. But I got breaking news.
Ravens
making a trade. They're trading. Wow, Marquise Brown to the Cardinals. That is some breaking news. That is Lamar Jackson's top option. Man, a receiver. That's quite the move.
That tells you they love the depth in this receiver class, right?
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Is Jahan Dotson are we looking at a trade up for Jahan Dotson?
No,
here?
that might be that. No, that's a great point, Andrew. I mean, they met with Jahan Dotson after his pro day. They were all over him. He had a 30 visit with them as well, and came in and saw the facility. I mean, that's a huge trade to get rid of him. So they clearly have their eyes set on somebody, and Jahan Dotson would be perfect to replace him.
I feel like wouldn't that fit in with the Harbaugh whole scheme? Just Jahan Dotson carries the football around everywhere he goes in State College, and he's traded it into the NFL once since he came back from Arizona. So I feel like that's something like a Harbaugh would just buy into him and be like, "You're my guy. I'm gonna grab you."
On the other side of this, we have
oh Lord, what happened?
The Cardinals bringing in Marquise Brown for Kyler Murray, who there's been a lot of disputes this offseason. Is he going to be there? Is he going to be the quarterback of the future? Now maybe they're trying to load up some weapons for him and maybe make him more willing to come back.
Yeah, they're back together again. They played at Oklahoma together. Had a lot of success out there, and he's back with his buddy. So they obviously have that chemistry and camaraderie. So could work out for Kyler Murray and try to make him happy as he fights for that long term.
They could throw the football. They could play long catch in case Kyler wants to explore the baseball option as leverage here. So could do a couple of things right there. Texans take Texas A&M O-lineman Kenyon Green with the number 15th overall pick. So that's another close one. We've seen that's three picks now.
Wait a minute. We might have some breaking news
in this draft. With guys being selected that are staying close to home, from Detroit, with Georgia, our top pick in the draft, going to Jacksonville, and now Kenyon Green going to the Texans.
So we have some breaking news.
Go ahead.
Your guy, Jahan Dotson, will be a Washington Commander at pick number 16.
Wow, that's a big jump into the first round. I did not expect Dotson to be that early.
I knew it would be a first rounder for sure.
It's actually kind of depressing for me.
It's a little rich for me, not gonna lie, a little bit rich for me, but Jahan Dotson is definitely explosive. They needed somebody outside of Terry McLaurin to make plays as well. He's got the best hands in the draft, I will say that. I mean, he catches everything, and we know Carson Wentz is not the most accurate, to say the least. So he definitely gives them.
He also doesn't hold on to the football.
Yeah, exactly. So wow, I definitely wanted a receiver. Didn't see it be Jahan Dotson, but I'll give him a chance, man. Callista, obviously, you've seen him plenty. You know his game. I mean, tell me what we're getting.
I think he's a great contested ball catcher. I know Drake London is perceived as being, the best, but, and okay, first off, Drake London is no Chris Godwin contested ball catcher, and Jahan Dotson is no Chris Godwin contested ball catcher either, but they're both very solid. That catch that he had in the Ohio State game 2 years ago, going down the sidelines, that's probably one of the best catches I've ever seen a Penn State player make. One of the best catches I've seen, in college football, to be honest with you. Smooth route runner, I think, sure-handed. I mean, I love that he carries the ball around and things like that. Obviously he's a great interview. Good head on his shoulder, just always talking. I feel like he's a smart football player as well. And talking, coming into, the 2020 year, a lot of people didn't think the Penn State receivers were going to be good at all. They thought that was going to be the weak spot, and Jahan Dotson was just going to be a ho-hum, thing. All of a sudden, that Ohio State breakout game and, him returning punts and things like that. That's another thing, to count too. He is going to possibly return punts for, the Commanders. So
we need that.
He could do it all, and he's not the most electric guy there, but he's solid. He's solid. I don't think you have to worry about, one, he's going to catch and secure the football first and foremost, which, that's kind of big in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I love it. He's a good route runner, smart football player, and he doesn't turn the ball over. Like, he's not one of those wide receivers that's gonna stretch the ball out trying to do too much, and then you're gonna get one of those cheap pops and things like that. So
you're talking me into him, man. I'll give him a chance for sure. I know he's explosive. I know he can make plays. Would like a wide out with just a tad bit more size, but I'll give him a chance. I mean, if he's the game breaker that we saw at Penn State, I mean, I have no qualms.
I'm about to tweet out some highlights of him, so hopefully I have this video cut to the right size for Twitter.
Let's do
it.
Let's go back to this Ravens trade real quick. We're starting to see what the return is that they're getting, and
ROI.
actually, it is another first-round pick. They're getting the Cardinals' first-round pick this year, number 23. So the Ravens, obviously, like we were talking about, they see a prospect, they see the way the board is falling, and they wanted to jump back into this first round. So they should be picking in about 7 picks here. The Washington Commanders pick is rolling in here now, and it's going pretty well right here.
You talk about a great trade. Okay, you're getting, you're moving back. You're still getting a first round pick here and there, and the Commanders traded back and they got a 3rd and 4th round pick. They couldn't even get a 2nd. I mean, compare and contrast, these two trades.
I mean, the move up 5 spots, you would like a 2nd in that situation. Am I right, Kel?
Yeah.
Definitely would like a 2nd,
especially in the first round.
Yeah, especially in the first round. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you want more swings. Swings in the draft. I mean, they recouped the 3rd that they gave up for Carson Wentz, so yeah, that's nice. Not apparently, but there is a lot of depth in the middle rounds of these drafts, so clearly they like guys in the middle round, so to recoup a 3rd and 4th is okay, but you definitely would like a 2nd, but it all depends, man. It all depends on where they go with that pick and who they use it on and how they see them in the Commanders' future, so definitely interested to see what they do, but definitely would have liked a 2nd as well.
It's interesting to me that the Cardinals valued Marquise Brown so high, a first-round pick, and a couple other picks as well. I mean, that's quite, especially in a receiver-loaded draft. I mean, they were just going to be here in about 7 picks. There would have been some other guys on the board. I'm just kind of interested in what the Cardinals were thinking about this and who the Ravens obviously are targeting here in the bottom part of the first round.
It's always funny to watch trades be broken down. It just is, because we're thinking so much on like who won the trade initially when you don't know. It's so much is based on the future. Like, we're still doling out like trades from like years ago to like to see, okay, who came out on top. And you as an Eagles fans know more than anybody on the way how he deals with trades and things like that. That's how you end up with so many picks in the first round to begin with.
Absolutely. And then also with the random trades and recouping picks, it's just all about, trying to get that value. And you're right, like you said, you don't know until years down the line how guys perform in the NFL.
The NFL is going crazy right now. A.J. Brown will be a Philadelphia Eagle.
Wow.
Whoa. That is crazy. After the Titans talk so much about paying him and how he's never leaving, him going to the Eagles is a massive, massive get for Jalen Hurts and for the development of him next year. He really has. I guess this makes him have no excuses.
Oh,
if he doesn't get it done
100%.
this year, he's never going to get it done. I mean, that's a crazy trade. They get one of the best wideouts in the game.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Eagles were obviously talking about taking a first-round wide receiver, and this is obviously their guy. This is the guy that, they're going to take instead of, spending that draft pick. But, right, when Brown's healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's shown that in his time in Tennessee, and now Jalen Hurts gets that number one option right next to Devonta Smith on the other side. Obviously, Jalen Reagor has definitely fallen out of the picture after being a first-round pick a few years ago and just having a couple rough years.
Kind of like a pass.
Right. Right. So
Just falling. Just hits the turf.
So, man, this is a huge move for the Eagles. Definitely solidifies their offense. I mean, this is ready to go. And kind of like Evan said, Jalen Hurts has no excuses.
No
now.
excuses.
See the guy.
No excuses.
I mean, like,
I really, to be honest, dude, he's shown progression every year. He's gotten better, but honestly, I just think the accuracy is what the problem is. When you're watching him, trying to make throws down the field, there's always some sort of, oh, it's a little bit too far, a little bit too much air underneath. It's never right on the guy, right on the hands. In the Tampa Bay playoff loss, there's some video on the sideline of the defensive coaches, just calling out and players. He can't make reads. They know he can't make these reads. So definitely something he has to improve upon. But I think, the Eagles moves to this point, we're all about draft flexibility, obviously this year and in the future. What they have right now is the ability, if Jalen Hurts doesn't have that year that they want him to have, and somebody that they think that can lead their football team into the future, they're going to go get their quarterback next year in the draft. So it's definitely a prove it year for Jalen Hurts.
I love it. Continuing on the theme of this draft of just putting pieces in place, find out what you have, and then, we're not mortgaging. You know what I'm trying to say. We're not taking a loan out on the future because I can't get the word mortgage out of my mouth right now. But I just like that a lot of teams are doing that. And hey, I'm pretty hard on Howie Roseman, for the draft. I think he's, I think the Eagles are doing a pretty good job in this one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, to get Jordan Davis and then turn around, obviously, receiver was a big need for them. And to get one of the best in the game, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better day to be an Eagles fan.
Right, absolutely. Right now, I'm just kind of interested in what did we give up to get A.J. Brown? Is that second first-round pick gone? I would assume that it's probably been moved in that deal. But if not, you have another pick right up here in a couple picks. So the Eagles, ultimate flexibility, but it's nice to see them making the moves that fans want to see. We wanted them to get a wide receiver. We wanted them to get a top defensive lineman. And so far, the Eagles have gone out and done that tonight.
Would you say that all fans across Philadelphia are happy?
Right now, man, with that Sixers win, Eagles nailing a draft.
Oh, now you're bringing you're hedging your bets, bringing in the Sixers. That's not fair.
This is a great night for Philadelphia fans. April 28th, 2022. Philadelphia smiling.
It's almost like the guy, remember after the playoff game when he ran into the pole?
We're going to try to go up the pole.
On the way.
Crisco, on the train. Yeah, in the subway. Yep.
Those were great nights. I'm still I apologize, folks. I'm still trying to get this Dotson video tweeted out. I got to tag Elon here and say, like, dude, what is up? Like, let's make the video stuff longer for Twitter here. So just getting back into it, I got to tell you, it has been an exciting night. And most of the times I feel like the draft drags on.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this one's dragging on.
It's moving, right?
I feel like it's moving quick. I feel like decisions are obviously the Lions going, racing to the podium and things like that. Kale, what do we got?
Eagles did trade that number 18 overall pick and a third-round pick for A.J. Brown. So
yeah, that's fair value.
I agree. It's obviously, as a selfish Eagles fan, you want to hold on to that number 18 pick somehow, but obviously you want to move it to get that top receiver. Obviously, we had that run on receivers on the board. I kind of wonder what kind of influence that had on the trade. Probably a big motivating factor for Howie to make this move. Ultimately, though, I think, like I had said, they want that flexibility next year. You still have your 2 first-round picks, a couple second-rounders in the future, and I think that's ultimately what the Eagles are really looking forward to now.
Just getting a pick in here. Chargers select Boston College guard Zion Johnson. I love it when guards go in the first
Hey, he's
round.
a Bowie guy. He's from Bowie, Maryland, like me.
There you
So
go.
a local guy, played at Riverdale Baptist High School. He's a great kid. So that's a great pick. He's a good football player.
What else
too,
you know
and I'm
about
not just
him?
saying.
What else you know about him?
He actually was golfed in high school.
Is he any good?
That I don't know, but he was a golfer in high school.
Cool. I'm sure guys in the NFL know if he's a good golfer and what his handicap is. If he scratch, 6, 12. Some of us like me are 18 because I'm terrible anymore. These JOBs. 40 hours a week.
Both Green and Johnson, this is a little bit early in the first round for me. I would have thought they would have been in the 20s. There's a couple teams like the Cardinals and then the Cowboys. Well, the Cardinals did have a pick in the first round of the 20s. They could have taken an offensive lineman. So I was a little surprised to see these guys here. I would have thought Trevor Penning, tackle from Northern Iowa, would have been a guy who came off the board a little bit earlier than either of these guards. But maybe we're seeing a run on offensive linemen now.
I think you kind of have to, right? It's such an important position. I mean, I know we had a little run on corners. We've had to run on receivers and stuff like that. I am still shocked that no big guys went in the first 5 picks. I'm still shocked. So I mean, there's got to be like some value there that somebody,
Yeah, man.
It's the hardest position, in my opinion. It's the hardest position to nail outside of quarterback in the NFL. That's just my opinion.
The one thing, we're at pick 17, 18 here.
18,
No quarterbacks.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
No quarterbacks off the board.
I'm tired of over picking the most important position.
This
in the
might be a
NFL.
spot for Tennessee to pick a quarterback. I mean, we've seen Tannehill's ceiling. Let's just be honest.
I'm throwing you out that door if it's a quarterback. Don't jinx us.
I'm just
Don't
saying.
jinx
I'm
me.
just saying. I'm just saying. It might be a spot for them. We've seen Tannehill's ceiling. They might want a higher upside guy, a guy like Malik Willis, maybe just to see if they can go to that next level.
We're only a couple picks away from the Pittsburgh Steelers as well.
Yeah,
Obviously have been involved in the quarterback picture. Tragic death of Dwayne Haskins in the past month. And obviously, there's some room to add quarterback on the roster. So that definitely could be an option for them at 20. I'm definitely interested to see what they're going to do there.
I'm still intrigued. I want to talk a little bit more about Dotson here.
Yeah,
obviously,
let's do it.
Because we're a Penn State Station.
Yeah.
You're a Commanders guy.
Yeah.
Why was it so imperative for Washington to get with a team that is just, let's be honest, not good? Why do they trade back right there, and why do they go with a wide receiver in Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, I think they trade back just because they feel like the middle of this draft is pretty strong in the middle rounds 3 and 4. Obviously, the top end talent at this draft isn't as great as it's been in other years, but the depth is pretty good. So, you trade back, you get more swings. At more swings at the bat, as they say. Obviously, you traded that third, which could be a second for Carson Wentz. So you recoup that pick back as well. And quite frankly, Andrew, they wanted a playmaker. They've been talking about it this entire draft process, how they needed to get somebody opposite of Terry McLaurin to open him up and to open the offense up, quite frankly. They got the quarterback, obviously, for Carson Wentz, all his flaws. I mean, he does have a big arm. And Jahan Dotson's fast, so they think that could be a good marriage. For sure. So that's definitely why they trade back to get more picks and recoup that pick for Wentz, and then draft a guy like Dotson, who's a speed guy, like you were mentioning. Carson Wentz does have a big arm, so if those two could connect, it might open up the offense a lot more.
So we haven't seen the Cowboys go tonight or make anything because they always nail their draft. But okay, so Kale, we've seen the Commanders. You're a Philly guy. The Giants have obviously gotten better and stuff like that. What is like the makeup of the NFC East? Rapid fire off the top. Things like that.
Man, oh man. Well,
that's a loaded question. I know that's unfair. I throw you under the bus.
Man, everybody's gonna take me as the homer. I mean, right now I look at the Eagles; they ain't that far away. To me, you're a couple moves on defense, a couple additions there in the secondary, and a quarterback away from being a competitive team again. That's just my opinion. I think Evans Washington Commanders are on the rise here. I believe the New York Giants are on the rise here. But to be honest, obviously the Cowboys haven't had a chance to be active tonight, but so far what they've done in the offseason, some of the losses and everything, they really haven't done too much to improve as a team. If I'm kind of looking at it right now, man, Commanders, I don't know if they're the last place team anymore. I really think the Cowboys, they're going to have the Commanders biting right on their heels there.
I think it'll be competitive just because I don't think any of the quarterbacks is that much better than the other.
Absolutely not.
We can all, pick, be nitpicky with all 4 quarterbacks in the division. So I think that's the reason more than anything why the division might be close. It might come down to the last couple weeks. I mean, obviously the Eagles super strong up front. That's you guys' bread and butter. The Cowboys, they're I don't know. It's hard to describe them. I mean, they're iffy.
Yep.
They're iffy. I mean, the Commanders, we'll see. And then the Giants, they're rebuilding. But, with this new group, Joe Shane and those guys, I mean, they just nailed their first 2 picks. So, they seem like they're on the rise as well. And if they can get a quarterback, who knows what they could be. So,
right.
Definitely, until one team gets a quarterback that's just head and heels above the other, I think we'll all just be in contention for each other.
Tennessee's pick is in. It is not a quarterback.
Ooh.
They went wide receiver.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. He did not play in the Outback Bowl against Penn State.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty to say about him coming up. So we're through pick 18. The Titans get that Treylon Burks. They get him at number 18 out of Arkansas. That was the Eagles' pick, but they get that via a trade where the Eagles actually get a wide receiver.
And they actually obviously just moved A.J. Brown, just replaced him with Burks.
Big salary switch right there. Am I right in terms of demands?
Yeah.
So we're 2 picks away from the Pittsburgh Steelers going at number 20. And then we got the New England Patriots at 21, Green Bay Packers 22 from the Las Vegas Raiders. So we're going to take a quick break. We will be back after a couple of those picks go through, and we'll have plenty more. And we're going to start at pick number 18, talking about Treylon Burks and then the Pittsburgh Steelers when we come back. So, hey, thanks for watching us. We're in the Fox 43 podcast studio where you're talking the NFL 2022 draft. If you want to hear about everything else in the world, tune in to Fox 43 News right now. You can do it both at the same time on your television. Evan Forrester's with the latest going on in the area. All right, thanks for watching and listening.